What is up, everybody? It's time for another real estate video. This time we're going to be talking about the triplex that I bought in 2021, really at sort of the beginning / into the peak of COVID. And I had this property completely documented from start to finish. So this was my first big Brrrr project, which means buy, renovate, rent out, refinance, and repeat. So that means we buy the property, we put money into it, we improve it so we can get some higher rents. We get the new tenants in there. We get market rents or close to market rents. And then we get it reappraised. And then we refinance it out. And then we repeat it. So when we get it reappraised, say, I think at this one I paid $460,000 for it. And then I think the ARV, so the after repair value, came at like $630, which was low. So I was able to pull out equity because I put some money into repairing it, renovating it, rehabbing it. So I got to pull out a bunch of money. Not all of it. It wasn't like a perfect Brrrr, so I had some money left in the deal. And then when you do that, you take on more debt, which makes your mortgage payment a bit higher. But you're going to see here that it still cash flowed well, and I've had that property since then, and I actually left there earlier today. I needed to put in some new burners into a stove. So yeah, I want to show you guys an update. If you're interested in watching the entire series, it's like a 12 or 15 part series where from day 1 all the way, I think, to day 75, you can see the whole thing and all the numbers. So here we are, 5 years later almost. And now you can see how it's performing today. So the Brrrr triplex is what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to go and show you guys what the actual cash flow is today, about 5 years later. So the mortgage payment and taxes is $2,837, and my interest rate is 3.5%. Now, where I made a mistake, and this was an honest mistake I made, so don't do this mistake, is I actually put this on a 5-year variable. And at the time, the variable was like 1.67%. It was like free money, right? But the fixed rate was a little over 2%. I should have went with the fixed. I don't know why, and I'll be honest with you, I actually thought I picked fixed, but it ended up being variable. And because interest rates went up so high over these last few years, this interest rate actually peaked at like around 5.2% or something, but now it's back down, and I have a renewal coming up in 2 months. So for a couple of years, it was like low or mid to high ones, and then for a year or two, it was like 3%, 4%, went all the way up to like 5 point something, and now it's all the way down to 3.5. So it really fluctuated. Here in Canada, we don't have 30-year fixed. You only can do a 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, or 5 year. When you start to get in some bigger stuff, there are some different things you can do, but pretty much it's almost always capped at like 5 years, and then you have to get a new, basically a renewal, and that changes your interest rates. In the States, it's 30-year fixed. So like if you're at 3%, you know in 30 years it's going to be 3%. In Canada, you got to be a little bit more strategic, and there's a little bit more risk, because if black swan events happen and interest rates, either go way down or way up, you can get yourself in a little bit of trouble. So right now it's at 3.5%. My insurance is $180 a month. So my power bills there is $50 a month. It's actually a little bit less, but I bumped it up to $50. My water bill there is on a little bit more of an expensive side, because in this triplex, there's quite a few people that live in the building, because it's 2 3-bedrooms and 1 2-bedroom. So there's, 3, 6, 7, 8. I think there's 9 people that live in that building. So there's quite a bit of water usage, so it's $170 a month. My repairs last month, so this is for December 2025, by the way. Repairs were 0, and I can honestly say this, guys, because I did a full Brrrr and everything in this building was touched or replaced. We're talking all new kitchens, new bathrooms, all new paint, new baseboards, new flooring, new hot water tanks, new toilets, just new everything, new fans, new fixtures. Since I've owned this place, I have done about $600 in maintenance work since ownership. So one time there was a leak, another time was oven. Today I actually spent $100, but that's going to be for January. But last month I had to replace a battery in a smoke detector. So when you do these full Brrrs, it's really nice because you know that there isn't going to be a bunch of deferred maintenance and things are good for quite some time. So no repairs at all in December. Snow removal. This song sucks, so I'm going to go with something different here. There we go. Snow removal is $300 a month. It's on the little bit of a higher end. I used to have a guy that was $150 a month, but he did a dodgy job. So I have another company that goes in and they do multiple of my different triplexes. And this one here is $300. So that includes your plowing, shoveling, salting, and they'll go as many times as it snows. Sometimes it sucks. We don't get much snow, say in December or sometimes even in January. And so I kind of pay maybe $300 for them to be there 4 times. But when we get into the months of February and March, I mean, it can snow like every other day and it can snow all day. So sometimes the plow has to be there in the morning and then 3 hours later and then 3 hours later. So, you know, $300, a little on the expensive side, but they do a great job. There's never any complaints. They're well insured, and I have no problem paying a slight premium for that on this property. And that is all of the expenses. I self-manage, so there's no management expenses. The property's never been vacant. It's always full. All 3 tenants that are in there right now have been there for years. So my total expenses when you add up everything is $3,537. And this is pretty standard. Like, there isn't a whole lot of deviation, especially with water and power and insurance and mortgage. They never change. Only 5 months of the year do we have snow removal. And then when there's not snow removal, there's lawn care. And the lawn care is only $60 a month. So the expenses go down quite a bit during the spring into summer months. Now, the rental income, so from the 3 different tenants, is $5,125, which gives me, because I am solo on this, $1,588 in cash flow for the month of December of last year. So not bad. That's pretty good. $1,588. And remember, when I did the Brrrr, I got to pull out a very big chunk of my money, my equity that I put into this deal. Now, I do have a renewal on this property coming in March. And the renewal, I've already got quotes. My new rate will be around 3.9%. So right now it's 3.5. I am going with a fixed, so it won't fluctuate. But because over these last 5 years, the tenants have been paying down the mortgage a little bit each month, my mortgage payments are actually going to go down because I'm not pulling any equity out. So typically for what I do is I only ever pull out of money out of a property one time. That's it. Okay. Now what I mean by that is when there's a renewal, you have the opportunity to take on more debt if you want and pull out some of that equity. So the bank will literally say, okay, you know what? We'll do an 80% LTV, loan to value, which means we'll cover 80% of the new value. Now, when I bought this property, it was worth it. I bought it for $460,000. Okay. Today, the property is worth $950,000. So there's quite a bit of spread there, and I already have the majority of my money out. I think I've got about $60-something thousand left in there. because I don't know the exact numbers. Again, you guys can go back to this series right here. It's on my YouTube. I'll put a link in the description, and you'll be able to see all of the numbers, and all of the renovations and the good and the bad that I've done. But now this property is worth $950,000. So in what I could do is I could say, okay, let's go ahead and get this thing reappraised. Say it came back at, even though it's worth $950, they're usually very conservative. So even if they gave me an evaluation of, an appraiser came in and said it's worth $900K, I could do 80% loan to value of $900,000. So they would give me a mortgage for $720,000, right? And then I think what I owe on this property is actually, I think I just wrote it down. I owe $440. So I could actually pull out, 300, not quite 300. Let's just say $250,000. They would literally write me a check for $250,000 or wire it to my account. And then I would have $250,000 in tax-free money because it's debt. And then, but if I did that, my mortgage payments, because remember, now I'd be servicing $720,000 in debt. My mortgage payments would then balloon up to, at 3.9% over 25 years, $3,760 plus the taxes is another $300. It would be about $4,100 a month, right? $4,100 a month. But remember, my rental income is $5,125, so I would be still cash flowing a little bit, because remember, you've got these other expenses. I'd cash flow a few $100s a month, right? But I would have $250,000 in cash. I don't do that. I've already done one cash out refinance when I did the Brrrr, the initial Brrrr. At this point, I just want to get to the point where I pay this property off. So I'm just going to allow the tenants to keep paying it down. And then eventually when this property is paid off, then I won't have a payment and my cash flow will be way more. Okay. Now, if I had a building, like say a 25-unit building that I needed $250,000 towards a down payment, and I had this lined up, it would make sense for me to then pull that money out to acquire that asset. The problem is I don't have that deal lined up. I don't have bigger deals lined up until late this year and in 2027. So I already have some things ready to go for some other refinances. So I'm just going to leave the capital in there. And at any point, if I want to, I can break my mortgage term and still do a cash out refinance and pay a 3-month interest fee. But I just want to show you guys sort of how that works, right? So to kind of go back how this is going, the property's worth $950,000 now, right? I paid $460 for it. So we're talking a $500,000 gain in the last 5 years, $100,000 a year, essentially, in appreciation, because the markets went so crazy over COVID, and I'm still holding on to this property, and I'm still cash flowing, $1,588 last month. And during the winter, it's the lowest cash flow because expenses are a little bit more because of snow removal. Now, rental increases. I have rental increases happening over the next 6 months. They've already accepted the renewal and stuff. So I'm going to get another $110 in rental income over this next 6 months. So I got one coming in a couple of months, another in 4 months, and another in 6 months. So I can't really count that yet, but there will be more rental income. And the other thing that I didn't do is I didn't raise anybody's rents on any of my properties, any unit during COVID. I just didn't. I felt like, it was a tough time for everybody. So really, I am behind. These units are still under market. The 3 units are under market by about $200, and the 2 unit is under market by about $200. So eventually, I just do 5% a year now, and eventually they will catch up, and this thing will cash flow even more. So the new mortgage payment in March, when my renewal is up, will be $2,600. Because the mortgage itself is going to be $2,300, and then another $300 for the property taxes that gets bundled in. So in March, it's no longer going to be 2837. It's going to be about 2610, which will then bring my cash flow up another couple $100 as well. So I would say by March, it'll be about $2,000 a month is what I'll be cash flowing 5 years into owning this, with over $500,000 in equity in this property that I'm not even planning on tapping into, and I'm just going to continue to pay this down. So I wanted to show you guys the update on this. It has literally been like 5 years since, actually 4 years, February 2021. It's 2026. So yeah, we're almost there. It's almost 5 years, sorry, since you guys seen a proper update on this, and this is how it's going. So all these years I've been collecting cash flow, paying down the mortgage little by little. You know, early on, the majority of the payments go to interest and a little bit to principal, but now I'm starting to see, you know, out of this $2,800, a good $1,200 of it is going to be going into the principal. So that's like a little extra savings account each and every year. So, you know, this property is bringing in about $24,000 a year in positive cash flow, give or take, because again, the winter months are the more expensive months in terms of expenses. So that's it. I don't want to drag this video on too long. I want to make this short and sweet. I'm going to do this type of thing for a lot of my different properties. This is just one of the triplexes. Maybe we'll do the other triplex. We had an amazing month on the 15 unit and the 8 unit, which maybe I'll do a video on that here in a couple of days. If you guys didn't see the last video, click the previous video to see the cash flow on the 15 unit, and that was during a bad month. We had a good month, so I'm excited to show you guys that. If you have any questions, go in the comment section below. Let me know. I'll either answer them in the comment section or I'll make a video addressing those things. But this, again, is a residential triplex, just 3 units, and it's just chipping away, building up equity and bringing in a decent cash flow each and every month. That's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching the series. Hit that like button if you guys enjoy it. Subscribe if you guys are new here. And again, any questions, hit them in the comment section below. All right? I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm just here to show you what I've been doing and what I continue to do in real estate over the last almost 10 years. Thank you so much, guys. Enjoy your night. Peace out.